Turn off your mic, thank you. Okay.
Hi, good morning everybody, good morning Fernando. Dobar dan, kako ste? This is Gianluca. I'm Italian nationality, although I'm based in Belgium. When I think that you are enjoying the view of the color of the lake in Bled and I'm staying at home, I don't feel so well. Look forward to visiting again your wonderful country. Normally I spend few days a year. This year is a challenge. I only spent 1 hour in your country this summer, traveling from Trieste to Croatia. I had to pass briefly the country. I could not stay because originally I was coming from Belgium and I had to quarantine if I had to stay in the country. And on the way back, I rushed to go back to Italy because some new regulation had been put in place for tourists in Croatia entering back in Italy, so I had to run back into my country. So this is the challenge that we are living in nowadays, and I wish we'll get out of this, nightmare as soon as possible and being able to shake hands and see each other again. So let's see if the technology leads up to our expectations. And if we are able to share the presentation, can you let me know whether you can see something that you've done?
We can see the first slide in PowerPoint.
How about now?
Okay, we see the presentation.
Okay, so good morning once again. So in the next half an hour, I'm trying to give you an idea of what EFGM is today, how the new model looks like, and how you could benefit as an organization, as an individual, from an EFGM experience, and what can bring you as a benefit. So let's start by giving you some information about what EFGM is. You probably know it's a not-for-profit international foundation. By the way, we are smaller than Elite, so we have 14 working at EFQM, based in Brussels, but more importantly, we are an international network. And what we do is the following. We connect organizations, typically we do it with events, we do it with webinars, but we have also constructed recently technology which allows us to share views, to connect to each other, and so on and so forth. We also have a large network of partners in Europe, in Asia, and Middle East, and South America, with whom we work constantly in deploying best practices, in training, in supporting organizations with becoming more high-performing than that today. And obviously, I would like to thank Push and Nets, who is one of our partners in the country of Slovenia, for inviting me to speak in front of you. We facilitate, we help organizations progress on the next level of performance. We do it with workshops, with trainings, with tools, a number of other things, and the same is done for our partners. We also recognize as organizations, same as Euskalit, we do have a recognition scheme. By the way, we would like to challenge Fernando, and hopefully we will have some organization from the Basque region back into the EFKM award, which is the pinnacle of our EFKM recognition scheme. Last but not least, we also provide our members or organizations who are part of our network with a number of best practices, with insights, ideas, some creative thinking on how they could overcome new challenges and how to learn from each other. So this is what we are. Organization, we are a loose organization, a small organization, but we are very widespread across the board, and not just in Europe, where we come from, but also in other parts of the world. In terms of the healthcare model, you might have some familiarity with the or the EFPR model, which was created 30 years ago, soon after the establishment of the organization. The idea was, at the time, there was not so much community building in the European organizations, and most of the time were local quality management. The philosophy was strong in Japan. In USA, there were, I think, the total quality management, EQM, they were learning from each other, and Europe wasn't anything like that. That was the driver behind the creation of the African model. The idea is the organizations, practitioners, sitting together and saying, why don't we create a model which can be seen as reference by all of us as organizations, which can help us to compare with each other, and which can guide us towards the next level of performance. That was the start of the experience. The first year model was created 26 years ago, not 5. In fact, it was much more. It was anyhow. That's more or less the time frame when the EFPR model was firstly developed. That was at the beginning in mostly Western Europe, big organizations. It then expanded in the rest of Europe and addressing the needs of small and medium enterprises. Is being translated in 30 and plus different languages. We do have currently the new version of the model translated into languages, and you know that Slovene is one of those. But then at some point we realized, yes, we have changed the model and updated the model. We've done so every 5 years, ever since the first development, but never we went through a transformation of the model. And you refer, if you think how the world was in the early 90s, compared with how it is today, then obviously you realize that everything has changed. No technology, there was no internet, there were no mobile phones, there were separations of borders between the countries, there was no Schengen, nothing of this. And at some point, it was 2 years ago, when we realized that we had to go through this transformation. So at some point we said, we have to be courageous and change has been successful so far. As an organization, we're demanding something more modern, something model which could respond to the needs given by new mega trends, a model which could help organizers navigating through the challenges of new changes and transformation. We started this endeavor. We worked together within and beyond our network, interviewing executives, running surveys with quality specialists, and then eventually, last summer we came up with the new version of the model, which was launched in Helsinki at the last forum in October. The new model is based on a very simple logic, and it responds to 3 main different questions that any organization should try to question and ask themselves. The first is about why. Why we exist as an organization? What kind of purpose do we intend to fulfill? What is the risk that for our organization? And how do we intend to deliver on its purpose? What kind of strategy do we want to put in place to eventually get closer to what will be our future dream as an organization? So we call it as a direction. Why do we exist? Where do we want to go? And how do we want to get there? The how, which is the second pillar, is about how an organization intends to deliver the purpose and the strategy. It's about implementation. It's about execution. It's about processes. It's about how we deliver value, it's about how we drive performance, and how we drive transformation. And we call it execution. The last pillar is the what. It's what have we actually achieved today as an organization? What do we intend to achieve more? This is what we call the results. Well, these are the three main factors underpinning the new version of the FPR model. The past we used have enablers, results. Now we have direction, executions, and results being the pillars of the new FPR model. This is how it looks like. You will recognize the role of the organization at the center, three pillars, and then an explosion across the criteria. So we do have two criteria supporting direction, one being purpose, the vision, and the strategy. By the way, I like one quote from an executive I interviewed yesterday when he said that purpose is the music for our employees and stakeholders. The second criterion is that the organizational culture and leadership, which is a big difference how we refer to leadership in the past. We'll see later on with one of the next slides. In terms of execution, we have three criteria. One looking at how to engage stakeholders. Second one is about creating sustainable value, where sustainable is very important. Support and sustainable value, these are for the key stakeholders and not just the customers. Typically, the last criteria is about driving performance transformation. So how to be able to continue to improve as an organization and drive these for major changes and transformations. And the last thing is about results, where we have two different criteria. One which looks at strategic and operational performance of the organization, tends energies, and the second one is about the perception from stakeholders, because on the one side, it's important to measure the performance so that we know exactly what we deliver, but on the other side, it's fundamental to get to know what the stakeholders think about that and whether they are satisfied with what we deliver as a value. A very important point, and I like this factor, is that the new EFPR model is strongly influenced by sustainable development goals. This is really an important value proposition of our EFPR model. So sustainable development goals are underpinned of the new version of the model. And when we work with organizations, there is expectations that organizations use the FPR model to improve their performances, to improve their performance vis-a-vis the key sustainable development goals which are relevant for the organization. Let's spend some more time on some key changes. So compared to the previous version of the model, we put a big emphasis on culture and purpose. We talked before about purpose. Culture, it's interesting, yesterday I was attending a session with online with the chairman of LinkedIn, and he was flagging the culture as being fundamental aspect of that competitive advantage. He was saying the culture enables us as an organization to do certain things, to take certain risks, to operate the company in a certain way, to trust employees to do certain things, and to enable us to scale faster, bigger. So culture as being really the milestone for the success and the influence of the organization. You might have best purpose and the best strategy, but if it's not nurtured from culture, chances that you'll be successful are not very high. Second element is this different concept of leadership. In the previous version of the model was leadership as the goal. So who are the leaders at the top of the organization? Now we talk about leadership activity. So it's about having people at every level of the organization, which helps with making sure we have a stronger, more efficient decision making at all levels of the organization. It helps creating collaboration and teamwork in every team and every aspect and every project. So leadership is not just the top of the organization, but we really refer to leadership as a new activity across all the levels of the organization. A new model, the guidance points of the model, support this kind of understanding. The third element is what I was anticipating before, is the two sides of the same model. It's transformation performance. How can I keep to improve or continuously improve performances? And at the same time, so I think the great chance of starting and succeeding, we make changes and transition. The new model, whilst the previous one was very much supporting the view of improvement, the new model is indicated. So now, identify, make transformations, and now drive them successful completion. We call it the two sides of the coin. The other change is the fact the new model has become even more flexible and adaptable than it used to be in the past. The past was very rigid, so there were the 5 boxes of errors and the 4 results, and like this for the organization. We did not allow for flexibility in terms of, for example, identifying stakeholders or prioritizing stakeholders, on defining aspects that are more relevant for a certain government. This new version allows for this flexibility. And then is the future sighting, so this is another big change in the new model. So it's designed new model to also take into account benefits of organizational analysis, future forecasting, predictive intelligence, the importance of what really is the future side of the organization. We are strengthening the organizations in reinforcing the future evolution, the predictive sort of approaches, and what we is exciting. So you will find all this in the model explored the number of guided points. But I think, at the end of the day, what really is in the heart of the new model is this concept of weight, sustainable value. Sustainable as being a long-term value that organization is offering the different key stakeholders, but to make sure that we think to deliver, create and deliver sustainable advantages. This means that organizations really need to identify upfront who the key stakeholders are and what kind of value we can deliver to them. Very often we focus too much on customers, which is obviously a must, but we forget that they have a number of other key stakeholders that can influence or hinder the success of our organization. So it's fundamental to identify these key stakeholders. It's fundamental to identify what their ambitions and expectations are. It's fundamental to understand what kind of value we can deliver to them, being sustainable. It's fundamental to see how we can influence key stakeholders in becoming more sustainable themselves. Fundamental to establish a communication channel and to collect and analyze the feedback you receive from all the different key stakeholders. This is an example from an organization which is an early adopter of the new ESG model. Obviously, had to anonymize, but you can see how the key stakeholders are at the center of the organization. Thus, you see the kind of segmentation for each stakeholders. You will see how they map the needs and expectations from all the stakeholders groups, and how they measure their performances and their perceptions accordingly. This is a very good example of a stakeholder-driven organization. How an organization starts mapping the key performance, understands them, distill down their needs, develops processes and values accordingly, and delivers out and closes the loop with the perceptions. This is a summary of how the new EFPM model looks like. Some of the elements that I introduced before. We more in depth some information and some key highlights of what are the building blocks of the new model. I have left and number on this since I have already anticipated the key concept, but it's a nice to look at and where it's a sort of future to see and to remember the building blocks of the new model, which can help you whether you can progress towards the next level. On the one side, we talk about the model. We also have improved our diagnostic tool, which is called Radar, which helps the organization evaluating how they perform vis-a-vis the indications of the models. So this is not the scope of this presentation, but we do the diagnostic tool, which you can use at your hand. I encourage you to use a simple approach first, so as to have a first evaluation, first screenshot of our organization process. And you can eventually store the organization, but this comes later. It is not the game on the board. In terms of the changes, we have 9 criteria, from 32 we have 28 parts plus results criteria. We reduced the number of guiding points, to not have any more fundamental concepts, which was confusing for some of the organization. We changed something. How to engage in the new model? It was interesting what Fernando presented before. We identified 5 different steps, which is about how to get started, building awareness and involving management team and communicating the aspiration. Why we work with a model? It's about developing and improving, so creating and developing the capabilities, with some workshop, training, tools and the like. Starting to assess the performance, you can do it with a light approach, and then you can eventually refine the approach. Learning from your peers, staying inspired how companies are performing, the right practice you can incorporate, you can work together, and actually celebrate the success and be recognized according to your level of maturity. This is just an idea of some training. I don't want to spend the course on, but there are different trainings available now that started, workshops, support, training for experience assessors, and so forth. I think another big dramatic change in the EFPM, and we learned a lot from Escalate. I remember the last visit that I came to Escalate was 14 or 15. I was really amazed by the digital platform. And we have worked hard to create a digital platform with organizing self-assessment and external assessment as well. We have a new digital platform where organizations can perform their assessment. They can use 3 different languages, depending on their maturity, depending on their needs, starting with a simple question, and then going more in depth with 2 more sophisticated tools. That's the environment where you can build your description of your company. We call it a mission document or management report. That's the environment where once you have described your business, then you can access and external sectors who will evaluate organizations, and that's the environment where this report, which is the outcome, is then delivered. everything is now condensed into a digital platform, which also helps us to support the remote assessment. Same as Euskadi, is able to offer complete remote assessment in place with face-to-face methods. And this is possible because we have a digital platform which supports organizations and assessors like us. Just the things about the different assessment tools. We have the questionnaire, which is light touch assessment. You can use as a simple one-use questionnaire, or you can distribute across a number of people as well, also a consolidated view of what is the view of your employees. And then we have two more complete diagnostic tools, which have been built against the criteria, over against the curriculum part, and therefore you can start assessing your organization, mapping your second model, documenting your approaches, uploading your live documentation, and then giving the space for the internal or the external assessment. We have also evolved to a slightly different, I would say, class base. On one side, we do have a model, but we have also developed, we are developing optical lenses, sort of EM framework, which are focused on specific challenges. Top innovation, UN Sustainable Development Goals, coming through circular economy, or some specific sector like education, coming through with specific lenses, the healthcare, which is the top sector in terms of EFTM, hospitality, and tourism. And I will say the next step is about learning from others. The digital platform will also help us to capture a number of data and report effectively. How do we compare vis-a-vis peers? How do we compare vis-a-vis geography? How do we compare vis-a-vis players in our sector? Always obtaining confidentiality that is needed. And learning from good practices, role model practices, and the like. This will be available in, it is already available in another platform. Yet, EFTM knowledge base, partners have access to this knowledge base, and also distill some of the some practices and tools and data, and in some in this platform. Step after learning from each other is about recognition. We have an interesting recognition scheme in the FTM with different experiences on different maturities. You can start with some basic, very easy, which doesn't require much preparation. The one-day sit face-to-face on both ideas, especially will be able to give you a first we think now progressing. We can go with the next level with 2-day remote site visit from by 2 assessors. Will give you, will provide you with the feedback report and get the criteria. Or you can progress with the most complete assessment, where the team 3 to 7%, depending on the size of the organization, will perform a full assessment of your organization and provide it with this detailed feedback report against the different critical part of it. And in this regard, you have an outcome, depending on the score, which is not really the end game, but in terms of recognition, you have to take this into account. Then we have 3, 4, 5, so 7 stars. The organization achieves 3 from 5 on top. And last but not least, we also have once a year a global award, and again, invitation for past organizations to apply again because we missed them. And they are role models in that regard, where we have typically, 15 to 20 organizations in the board apply for the award with the FTM and this year for the site visit across the world will be impacted with. This is just some idea of how diplomas and certificates would look like. And the last two slides is about some feedback on our organization are using the new model. We started recently, so we don't have a big literature yet, and companies are digesting or working, undertaking the first step. But this is interesting what we call as feedback. Organizations are using the model to understand better what the new world. Organizations, this is an international institutional bank, using the SPM model to improve the funding process, help the organization benefit the funding to become them. Organization using the FPM model as their global assessment across organization using the model guided magic transformation and using the model specifically that transformation with direct and executional results linked to information. Organizations are using it to foster the learning and sharing of different parts of the organization, using it to dig into the organization, using it to make where we are, where they are vis-a-vis peers, helping me to better understand what a standing organization looks like, getting fresh and external insight on my business, because then, it is also the part that we get when we have internal assessments visiting an organization, demonstrating value delivering to all the stakeholders, and using it in terms of qualifying their suppliers. This is just a use case, more will come, but just give an idea. And another exercise that you might engage in, we have recently developed a simple questionnaire that we offer to organizations on how SPM model can help you to manage the COVID disruption. You will find this called disruption self-assessment tool. You can play with it, and it can give you inspiration on you might eventually consider to start doing the organization or to kill within your organization. That's just an idea of organizations are already working with the new model, working already with the digital platform, organizations in Europe, organizations in the Middle East, in Asia, more will come. I know that our partners working extensively with a number of organizations, big corporations, medium enterprises, public, all kinds of organizations can benefit from the FPM experience. That's the end of the presentation, and I hope you enjoyed. I'm open to any questions.